50-year period of man's reign on the earth, from the 1001 year to the year 2000 of man, after the creation of the first man, Atom, in the Egyptian religion, the son of the sun god, Re. That's what I'm talking about. And we looked at a grid. It changed from one. The earth was one with one language. The people were one. And then at the Tower of Babel at 2118 BC, 2117 BC. From 2118 to 2117 BC, the earth was divided into 3 parts. But the one became 4 parts. And the earth is 4 cardinal directions. And we're talking about Nahua Orlin in the Petén region in Mexico. The Temple of Inscriptions have showed me something, a form of religion, a form of Buddhism in the West Indies. It's called shamanism, mysticism. Learn the knowledge of the Hebrews who were called out of the land of Egypt. And that's where all of our solar temples and solar deities, wherever the name became in the different time zones. So this is like the Twilight Zone and shit. You're in the, somebody knows a few of the answers to the mysteries that this society and this generation of people don't know. It's obscure. It's unclear to these people. And somebody from the ancient civilization of people, I'm gonna give you the place which they call the lost city of Atlantis. And Tenochtitlan was the last beholders of the Aztec calendar stone, which is called the stone of the fifth sun. And we have said Herodotus talked about the table of the sun that came out of the land of Ethiopia, across the Red Sea, with the Phoenicians, with the Hebrews, in the land of Canaan, or Canaan. In the Bible, English, in the King James Version, they say Canaan. The Akkadian script formed out the Kanani. So from like the temple of Pepi has a pyramid in Egypt outside of Giza complex from the 6th dynasty of Egypt, was around the same period of Nimrod, okay? And the Namas Padded is Isay. It was made in honor of Nimrod, the mighty hunter, the mighty man of Africa from the kingdom of Kush. Kush is Ethiopia, and today it's called Yemen in southern Arabia, going into Persepolis in southern Iran. So going into Havilah and Orphea is sons of Shem, son. Okay, and Joktan. Joktan has so many sons that's in the India and Southeast Asia. They spread all over those little islands. So all of the pyramids of that ancient diluvial generation of people, what they call in the Book of Mormon is called the Jaredites. The Jaredites, the only biblical Jaredite or Jared was in the 6th generation in the Egyptian religion we call Atam. In the Mesopotamian they called him Adamu, and in Egypt they call him Atam. Biblical Adam. The first 1,000-year period is the first year when the earth was born, what we call in science the Pangea. But the scientists and the Europeans, I don't believe what they say, because they didn't know. They were for When I went to school in the Americas and learned Western science and Western philosophy and Western logic on what they believed, they were for in all of their beliefs. Like Tycho Brahe, like Copernicus, like Galileo, and all of the scientists and the great thinkers in the Renaissance of Europe, the Greek Revival, Latin America's Rome and the Vatican, the Spanish, and all of the ancient bloodlines from Latinus was the ancestor of Italy. Okay. All of the things from the 5 leagues of Sparta. Okay. The truth of all of those things, what the Book of Mormon says is the time of Lehi and his 3 sons, like the 600 BC period. And the Book of Mormon speaks of this Nepi guy, but it's nothing in stone about this Nepi that has been publicly displayed and saying this is a historical fact and an actual and factual place and an actual and factual thing and an actual and factual person with an actual and factual record of what these people have Hellenized in these stories in the Church of Latter-day Saints in the Book of Mormon, which is not considered to be orthodox because of the images, because of the Plymouth Rock settlement from the first Thanksgiving, I believe to be 1623, when the whites from Great Britain, who had stolen the King of England's ship, King Henry of England, Henry VIII, and he was very upset about them serfs. A serf is like an indentured servant who has to serve a lord or a king who has more supplies, more gold or silver or any financial thing that material thing that they will need in the world that they live in. A serf is a servant who has nothing, does not have any money. You are amongst the serfs who have to go into the workforce and work for an overlord or a king. So Henry VIII was a king of England. Okay, he is documented as their historic king. He is a Scythian, a kingdom. Scythia or the Scyths are from the north, past a certain degree of longitude, okay, on the earth. They are all over the 4 cardinal directions of the earth in the north, or in the nether regions further down south, for past South Africa, for past what is called west is South America. South America is the western hemisphere, past the prime meridian, in between the international date line. That's a historical or mythical land called Atlantis, the land of the Amazons. The Amazons, the Greek mythology, classical myth knows about the Amazon River in the west, They call it the Hesperides. So the Hesperides is historically or biblically the land of the Libyans, the Lebu, who had Africa past the prime meridian in the west, in West Africa. Okay, so all of the lands west was considered to be Hermetic for the black people in Libya. The Libyans and even southern Spain and Europe was considered to be southwest, because that's the southern part of Europe. So all of the 5 leagues of Sparta came out of the land of Egypt, with the 18th dynasty of Egyptians at Thebes with Moses. Moses reestablished the best, which is a province, the land of Goshen, that was given to the Hebrews in the Bible. Okay. But there was another Semitic branch who are not called Hebrews, the Edomites, the Hyksos, who are enemies to Mizraim, who was the 12th dynasty of Egypt, when the tribes of Israel made covenants and agreements, and they were given land holdings, and they were given properties and settlements in a foreign land not their own. They didn't belong to that canton. They came out of the land of Chaldea, of Akkad, in the land of Canaan, the Canaani, amongst the 8th to the 12th dynasty, from the time of Abraham to the time of Joseph in the 12th dynasty of Egypt. That is the time what the Greeks call the legendary Trojan Wars. Okay, the Trojans were the black people from the land of Canaan, which is historically called Akkad, the Akkadian Empire, over the land of what is called Ashur, to which the land is called Nimrod, which is in Iraq, and Nineveh, and which I call Baghdad. In order the technology of that simple word, if a nigga knew then what a nigga know now, that's what I'ma call this one. If I knew then what I know now, nigga. If I knew the technology and the things that has happened in the historical record, what I know now. If I could go back in time and change those historical events that went bad on a certain day. Under the star grid, they got archaeology or astronomy, archaeo astrology and astronomy, where they can pinpoint how the world looked and reenact historical events in the ancient world that they are obscure, that they're unclear about. So I'm here to put it back in this tradition. What is naturally right, and what is for every historical landmark and every historical story that I think has been Hellenized and whitewashed, and for the white people to tell the people mass deception that I have seen in their pamphlets from the Jehovah's Witness people who are predominantly Spanish. So from the Spanish Inquisition, from the French, from the British, at Plymouth Rock settlements, from the East Coast of what we call the United States today. In America since 1492, when Christopher Columbus discovered America. I don't believe none of that shit. So I had to form a modern day belief system from the hip hop community, hip hoptic, and a revolution, just like the revolution, the revolutionary days, and something simple for the Civil War days. We're post-Civil War, post-Revolutionary War. Okay. No British monarch is a rightful leader of a free people. They don't know how to teach free people. That's why they took the Mayflower ship away from the king, because they were slaves. They were being not paid the right way. They were not being taken care of. And then he wanted to evict them and fire them from their jobs as serfs. So that's how I see the current world I live in today. Can you dig it? Suck.